Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Code with Matt. So today we are going to learn more about operating system and in this video will gonna be operating system introduction to operating system part 2. So in this video we are going to learn about how operating system works as an extended machine and how does it works as a resource manager, right? So do you know when we are accessing a file or when we are accessing something on the disk, we need to know so many information regarding that file, right? Or regarding that hardware. Even like if you are accessing a disk, okay, if you're accessing a disk, then it requires about 450 to 500 pages of introduction. So it's obvious that we don't want the user or we don't want ourselves to read or to understand this much lines of introduction or this much pages of details regarding the hardware. We just want to open and we just want to access the disk, right? And but behind the scene, these instructions are being handled by operating system. Okay, how? Operating system has a lot of disk drivers, right? Operating system has a lot of disk drivers which take cares of these introductions before accessing anything on the disk, right? Okay, now for this thing, operating system adds a layer called abstraction. Abstraction, and in here, yeah, and in here, what happens is that it adds a layer of a file, right? If you're accessing some file, then it can be any image file, it can be any word file, it can be any txt file or anything like that. Okay, and so for accessing these different files, different kinds of information needed to be known, right? So operating system adds this layer for classifying which type of file is going to be used, right? And we don't need to bother about these introduction before accessing the hardware, before accessing the disk, right? Now, coming to operating system as a resource manager, like let us suppose first let me tell you what are programs and processes, right? Programs and processes. So when we are running any software, right, or anything uh, which is not yet running, right? Which is not running is known as program. Okay, set of instructions. You can say set of instructions. Like if you write any C++ code, right, for Hello World. Let us suppose you write a C++ code of Hello World. So it is a program, but as soon as you run it, as soon as you click the run button, it become a process. It start processing, right? So this is known as process. Program is a passive entity and process is active entity because process is being running, right? Process. Process is being running and program is the set of instruction. A program in execution is the process, right? You got it. Okay. So let us suppose that for a printer, like we always have thought one scenario that there is one printer and we are printing let us suppose three or four files, right? How operating system is handling it? Okay, is it printing like two lines of process program one and two lines of program two, like sorry, process 1 and process 2. I'm saying process here because as soon as you do print command, as soon as you do print command, what happens is that um, on whatever file you did a print command, it becomes a process for printing, right? So in first, let us suppose uh, there are three files to be printed. So for printing file one, the process is P1, printing two process is P2, and process is P3, right? So uh, does it, does it happen that when you give the command print command for all three, we get two lines of file one, then two lines of file two, then two lines of file three? No, we don't. So what happened here is that as soon as you give the print command for all the three files, operating system makes a buffer on the disk, right? Makes a buffer on the disk for these three files, all these three processes. Okay, all these three processes and stores the output that is needed to be printed via this printer, right? On this buffer. Now, as soon as the process of one is completed, it is then forwarded to the printer for printing. And meanwhile, since this printer is busy in printing file one, so meanwhile, our computer or processor is busy in processing P2 and P3, right? P2 and P3. So that's how operating system handles. And as soon as P2 and P3, as soon as P2, as soon as P2 and P3 is done, then it goes to printer for their printing, right? Okay. Now, operating system n- needs to share the resources in two types of ways, right? In two types of ways. Firstly, in time. Firstly, in time. Need to share the resources in two types of ways. Firstly, in time, and the second is space. Time and space, right? How? Now, at a in this particular example of printer, in this particular example of printer, what happens is that uh, operating system is sharing the resource with respect to time, right? At this time, the first file is printing. At this time, at other time, the file two is printing, and the next time, file three is printing, right? Because at one particular instant, only one file is going to print, right? Only one file is going to print. So in this example, operating system is sharing the resource with respect to time, right? But how is it going to share the resource with respect to space? Okay, let us think about main memory, right? Let us think about main memory. Our main memory, like your main memory, might have a 2 GB of RAM, 4 GB of RAM, or 8 GB of RAM, whatever. Okay, so is it having only one process at a time? Is it? No, it is having multiple processes at a time, which means operating system is sharing the resources with different processes, right? Different block of different partition of the resources with different processes or yes, so different processes, right? This is this is being captured by process 1, this is being captured by process 2, this is being captured by process 3, this is being captured by process 4, right? So in this particular scenario, and also in case of secondary memory, right? There can be the cases where multiple computers are being connected to a single disk, right? So in that case also, let the conflicts of a read and writing of a file be handled by the operating system itself. Okay, but this happens that a single disk can be accessed by multiple computers, right? So our disk also is shared with respect to space, right? So that's how operating system helps to share the resources in two different types of ways. Okay, and this is how operating system acts as the resource manager. It manages the access of the particular access of a resource by multiple processes, multiple programs. Okay, operating system has extended machine as it works more than more it works more than it looks, right? It understands all the instructions that going to be needed, that is important for us to access the disk. That's why operating system is having disk drivers with it, right? Which which helps us to access the disk, right? Okay, thank you. In further videos, we will learn more about operating system. Okay, please like, subscribe, and comment if you are having any doubt. Thanks.